How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews back with a little bit of Five Rabbit up in this piece, in the form of their Five Lizards and Rabbits. Who would have thunk it? This is a Passionfruit Witbier. Really pumped for this one. We'll get into that in a second. What do they say about the beer? Talk about the beer on here. They say Five Lizard is an extremely creamy and refreshing wheat beer with some spicy complexity, with a bold and tangy splash of passion fruit for a delicious and slightly exotic flavor. In Aztec mythology, Five Lizard is one of the five gods of excess, serving to warn us against gluttony and debauchery, but at the same time also represents dance and sexual desire. This one's going on Pornhub, apparently. No. Wheat beer brewed with coriander and lime with passion fruit added. 4.3% alcohol by volume. Really curious about this beer for a couple different reasons. This is, I think, my fifth or sixth Five Rabbit beer I've dove into recently. They sent me off a box of beers. The first three were kind of traditional styles with new school kind of twists, or I should say old school kind of twists, because it's a lot of like Latin or South America or Central America kind of influence as far as spices and stuff like that. The middle two were hazies. One was a passion fruit hazy. Wasn't a big fan of that one, even though it wasn't a bad beer. It was just a little bit too herky-jerky for me. The base kind of hazy, it's a regular IPA. I enjoyed quite a bit, but it wasn't up to that kind of pizzazz that the other ones had to it. So we're kind of working ourselves back in that direction here with a little bit of passion fruit inside a very classic beer, a wit beer. Label-wise, it's lizards and flowers and stuff on a can. There you go. That looks like wheat beer. Looks like hazy. Looks like a saison. Looks like a bunch of different beers. Not really getting much fruit from a distance. Passion fruit is a very potent fruit, so you have to be very kind of judicious with how much you use in a beer, especially these lower ABV beers. So, but it looks the part to a nice, crisp kind of wit beer. Let's see if we can get a nose. I think I'm going to like this because it's not an overt kind of gigantic kind of passion fruit. It almost has that kind of like classic kind of slightly kind of orangey wit beer kind of characteristic to it, but with just the added kind of dollop of extra kick to it. And that's your passion fruit at play. Definitely getting that coriander in there. But it comes off soft and it comes off neutral in the nose. By that it means it's not like really lighting you up. Now you're talking about a sub 5% wit beer. It shouldn't really do that. Sure, you can get a little bit of banana esters, you get a little bit kind of richness from these beers, but at this lower ABV level, you're not looking for something to kind of explode out of the beer. Let's give it a taste. Cheers. I drink 700 of these. Yeah, this is a great summertime crusher. Listen, as I kind of alluded to when I was leading into the tasting this beer, passion fruit needs to be very, in my personal preference, and that's what we're talking about here, needs to be doled out in very small portions. It's super aggressive, especially the smaller the beer gets. It's not like off the charts crazy in any form or fashion. This beer, it's actually like a third or fourth player, but what it does is it takes those natural kind of orange, kind of zesty kind of elements you would get from more of the kind of German style wheat beer, which is what I'm getting here, and just elevates them to another level. It's probably more like grapefruit for me than passion fruit or orange. Maybe it's kind of meeting in the middle somewhere, but you get a nice, soft yet subtle but purposeful dollop of that coriander in there. Nice wheat characteristics with an uber softness to it, and that fruitiness, whether it be from that fruit addition, which I also think is a combination of that passion fruit in combination with hops, is really, really, really kind of showing its head in a very positive way. It's a delicious beer. This is really good stuff. This is a beer that, like, honestly, you take this beer and if you take this beer, you put it in like a super popular brewery, boutique breweries cans, you call it a fruited hazy pale, it flies off the fucking shelf. Not even shelf, because I'm talking about the breweries that don't put shit on shelves. It is, people are like, I love this beer, it's low ABV, it's really fruit forward, it's kind of a juicy hazy, but a low ABV, blah, 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 and it's absolutely fantastic. You call it a wit beer, you have a brewery from Chicago that I wasn't familiar with, for the most part, until I got some beers from them. I guess it kind of just floats in that kind of ether that a lot of people don't dip their toes in when it comes to kind of the beers that they probably would like if they ever gave them the chance. And that's where this beer kind of lies. Is this one of the better wheat beers that I've had in quite some time? Yes, it's fun, it's tasty, it's nice. But if we were looking through it through the lens of a BJCP nerd, it'd be like, it's tasty, it's fun, but it's not the style. I don't care about that shit. Is this one of the better juicy, hazy pales? Because that's kind of how this beer drinks for me. Yeah. I mean, it does have those elements of wheat beer in there. It is staying true to that form, but it goes so much in that softness, that juiciness, the way the beer kind of drinks, it makes you want to think those itty-bitty, lower ABV, juicy pale ales. And it's one of the better ones of those I've had. So you want to keep that in mind when it comes to these beers. So a lot of them kind of verge into different styles, because you have a lot of these new school kind of hazy pale ales, especially the lower ABV ones, where they don't have to gain a high alcohol content, and they don't have to put a bunch of brewer sugar in there. They they can use base malts through and through. They want to use a lot of oats and wheat and things like that, kind of beef up the mouthfeel, and that's kind of what you're getting in here. Yeah, it's super drinkable, super chuggable, super soft. That fruit comes to a head. I dig it quite a bit. Perfectly honest with you. Yeah, I want this at this ABV level. I want this as an everyday drinker in my fridge. Is it one of the better ones? Like I said, wheat-wise, yes. But outside of that BJCP realm, one of the better lower ABV chuggers I've had as of late, even higher. Like Mount Rushmore's had is good. Value and availability, no idea. I don't know how Chicago plays. And leave you with, if you like what we like this beer, if you like low ABV chuggers, whether it be wheats or hazies or whatever, it's going to foot that bill. So if you want that juice element, if you want that soft mouthfeel element, you want that nice kind of pop, and that little bit of subtle passion fruit, even though it comes off more of like a citrus or more grapefruity for me. If those are the things you dig, especially that low ABV, look no further, Chicago, and hopefully out somewhere else. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing a whole podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a little fly rabbit right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers.